With social media being so prevalent nowadays, it seems like everyone is spilling their biggest secrets for social points or something. But I'm not gonna lie, I think we should all know less about each other. I should not know what you just told me. I don't need to hear the story about how you got drunk and got ran through by the football team or how many women you got with at Mocha Fest. Keep that to yourself. But with the increased online transparency comes with the growing tolerance to revealing important information about ourselves that can be detrimental. There are just some things that don't need to be said. And today, I'd like to enlighten you on 4 of the 1 billion pieces of information that have no business being out in the open. And honestly, the third one is one of the more problematic yet common blab topics for some reason. Now, topic number 1 is going to be talking about your long-term goals and dreams. It is extremely important for us to have some kind of long-term goal. Goals are designed for us to make the right decisions to get to a certain point, because if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. However, you'd be surprised about how many people wouldn't care to hear about your aspirations. Unfortunately, some people start to change up once you reveal that you have higher goals for yourself. In most cases, you even making the decision to better yourself will shine a light on the other person about how little effort they're putting in their own lives. This can sometimes grow into resentment or simply using language designed to steer you off course. When I was planning my cross-country solo move, I kept it under wraps for most of the year. I didn't reveal that information to my family that I was leaving until about a month before my departure. When I told my father, he would say things like, "Nah, you don't want to go there because of X." Or, "You sure that's a good idea? You could just stay here because of X." Granted, I don't believe he did this with malicious intent. I interpreted it as the idea of his son leaving was just hard for him in general. But subconsciously, he wanted to keep me to a familiar environment that he understood, but that would only hurt me in the long run. If I had listened to him, then life would be a lot different right now. I wouldn't have what I have right now. So for the sake of that fire that's designed to help you get up in the morning, keep your plans to yourself and hold yourself accountable. Next blab topic would be family secrets. So we all have issues in our family. Literally every single one of us, no family is perfect. But there is no need to blast your cousin on Facebook by posting a black screen that says, "All you had to do was communicate," and adding at them in the comments. It is beyond unnecessary and it creates similar drama. Now, the issue with this is that if you're airing out dirty laundry, people will begin to notice that you're putting your family under the bus, and in turn they'll recognize you as someone who also can't be trusted. And in today's world, connections and relationships mean quite a lot, so be very careful in straining your familial relationships as well as your friendships. Now, I will admit I've spoken about family experiences on this channel, but those experiences were like 8 years ago and they've subsided completely. I'm talking about people who are going through something at the moment and they tag their cousin when they just had an argument yesterday. Now, blab topic number 3 will be your financial situation. Why on God's green earth are you telling everyone about how much you make? Is that to make you feel good? Are you trying to feel important? Money can be a taboo subject in today's society. People get uncomfortable just mentioning it. Now, I personally would love if we had a society that was more open about talking about money, but unfortunately, the reality is that most people start acting real funny when they realize you got anything going on. You ever notice that once you have some money in your pocket, your family's like, "Hey, let me borrow $5, I know you got it." I don't know who rang the bell, but this bank ain't for you. I once had a family member ask me for 75 cents worth of gas because I was the only one working in that house. Another family member asked to borrow $100, but when it was time to pay it back, they couldn't afford to. That's pretty wild. When low quality people start to think that you have money, they start acting as if they're entitled to what's rightfully yours. You ain't put in on this, man. Get up out of here. And the last issue I think you should not be so open about is going to be personal relationships, and I specifically mean romantic relationships. You've ever seen those TikToks of women blasting their husbands online? That is probably some of the scummiest behavior I've ever seen online. Relationship problems are to be kept between you and your partner. There is no reason to tell your girlfriends that your husband doesn't last in bed, or telling your homies about your wife's addictions to whatever. Not only does that destroy the sanctity of a relationship, but it ruins your own personal reputation as well. When you become known as the blabbermouth, then your friendship circles are screwed, because they know that if you're talking about your own woman, then you're gonna talk about them too. That is a one-way trip to isolation because you just can't keep your mouth shut. And on top of that, you embarrass the person that you're supposed to love. Scummy behavior, bro. Keeping a sense of privacy is incredibly beneficial because it protects your peace, your relationships, and preserves a sense of self-control. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should listen more than you talk. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to check out this one on the screen because you might like that one too. Also remember to subscribe to the channel. Have an amazing day.